If you're talking, I couldn't be able to hear anything.
Sorry. Thank you all for joining today. Quick introduction about me. So my name is Prashant. I'm a technical lead. I'm a 16-time Salesforce certified consultant, MuleSoft certified and community group leader as well. I'm a trailhead mentor. You can follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn by at P or Prashant Vardhan. Okay. So today's agenda will just cover content blocks, dynamic content, what is code snippet, how do you share content, content builder approvals, what are content builder tags, what is Sitecore content, and a simple Q&A along with a quiz and wrap up. So we had a previous session of content builder, that's content builder 1. So what did we cover in the previous session was what is a content builder, how do you upload files into the content builder, how do you create emails in content builder, how do you create email templates in content builder, and what are the different kinds of mobile messages are available, like line messages, WhatsApp messages, push notifications, mobile pop-up alerts, right? And then we discussed about best practices as well. So we'll cover blocks and the rest of the topics today, which are part of content builder, and we'll walk through a few demo pieces as well, like I in the content builder, and then we'll wind up with a quiz at the end. So content blocks are basically a reusable modular content which are built for messages. So we have different types of content blocks. We have Einstein content selection, Einstein tested content. We have image content. We have image plus text content. We have freeform content and HTML content as well. Okay. So Einstein content selection block, it's just like what happens is Einstein selects an image for your messages, and then they analyze the assets that are engaging to the customers. Okay. So similarly, Einstein tested content is, it's about testing the content before sending it out by Einstein itself. And, you can test up to 32 images in a single time as well. So we have image content. So in contact builder, you can create content based on images as well. And we have specific formats that are accepted by the content builder. So they are JPEG, PNG, GIF, and AMP-script images as well. So text plus image is something that is currently not available in content builder anymore, which has been removed. But previously we used to have text plus image content as well. And then we have freeform content where you can just simply create a content and then in a free-form manner. And we have HTML content that allows you to input your HTML code as well while creating a specific content as well. Okay. So when you create an Einstein content selection, you will be able to create a block to your messages. Okay. And then, the Einstein content selection will help you to analyze messages engaging your customers. Okay. So for each personalized subscriber, the Einstein will start recommending the personalized content that you are trying to upload, and then it helps you to send or engage the customers with that personalized messages. Okay. So when you're trying to utilize Einstein content selection, we cannot have a field called member ID. If it does, then block doesn't function properly as well. So, and also the assets that you're trying to utilize or selected perform with your subscribers interactions of the emails. So if the assets are not being interacted properly, then the Einstein will not recommend you to utilize that content using the Einstein content selection. So the other one is Einstein tested content. So you can test up to 32 images at a time. So before you send out any of the content, you can utilize to test it. Okay. So when you test it, what happens is it's a similar kind of an A/B testing. So you can test sending out the images in a bulk way, and then for the remaining customers, you can tell what is the winning content. Then you send the remaining winning content to the remaining subscribers. Otherwise, you can define what is the winning, and then you can just figure that email out as well. So I think those few of the Einstein topics are going to be covered in future sessions dedicated for Einstein itself. So here we have one more thing called as dynamic content. Okay. So dynamic content is basically the area according to the rules that you would like to display content for your customers. So for example, if your contents, if your subscribers are based in India, based in Philippines, based in Singapore, and you would like to display different kinds of images based on their location or on the basis of different attributes of the audience, then we can utilize dynamic content. So if the particular customer or subscriber or audience does not have any predefined value of the attribute, then dynamic content does not break. Instead, it will display the default message that is available in the dynamic content as well. So this is basically utilized to deliver targeted audience as their personalized messages instead of directly sending the common message to everybody. So if I am in India, then I would prefer my email to be in Hindi, Telugu, or other languages that are common languages across India, like Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, something like that. And if I am in Singapore, my preference would be basically in the three official languages like Tamil, uh, English and Chinese as well. Otherwise, if I am Philippines, then probably the country's language. I prefer my emails in my country language to it because they are more readable, right? So dynamic content then provide this such kind of it will help you provide personalized emails. And when you're targeting the customers and you would like to target in lump sum way, then you can define this dynamic content appropriately and then make sure that these dynamic content will reflect based on the attributes of the subscribers as well. And if at all you're utilizing a specific dynamic content for a group of for a subgroup of subscribers or a specific data extension, make sure that the rule follows or the attributes inside the rule are present in the data extension. Otherwise, the dynamic content might fail and reflect only the default variant across. Okay, so even every time before you utilize a dynamic content, you need to make sure that you upload the content prior to create a dynamic content. If you choose to make a local copies of content blocks, update the dynamic content in emails, and then probably save the dynamic content when you edit the content already in use of the dynamic content. Okay, so also you can customize the background color, background variations of the dynamic content as well. What is the styling of the dynamic content can be customized, and also the dynamic content cannot be used in text-based emails. Okay, so that is something that needs to be taken care of. So if you are trying to send any text-based emails, then you cannot use the dynamic content over there. Okay, so make sure you specify the default variant in the dynamic content. If you do not specify the default variant, then if the attributes does not match, then the default content will not be displayed in the dynamic content. Okay, so what happens if a particular person is meeting multiple criteria? So for example, we have a subscriber base and the couple of subscribers the subscriber base is on Salesforce products, assuming, okay. So Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Pardot. And the subscriber base has got an attribute called what is the specific solution that this customer is expecting or the subscriber is expecting. And we have an options which are multiple selected: Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and Marketing Cloud. And now when I define a specific email and when I create a dynamic content and I say for Sales Cloud, I need to have Sales Cloud related information. And if a customer has selected Service Cloud, then he should get the email, the content inside the email related to Service Cloud. And similarly for Pardot and Marketing Cloud as well. But Prashant is a subscriber and he has interest in both Sales and Service Cloud. Then what is the first criteria that is going to match for him? Probably the Sales Cloud. If that is the first criteria that is being matched, then he will only receive the dynamic content of that specific criteria. Despite he is matching with multiple criteria in the dynamic content, the first ever matched criteria for the dynamic content will only be displayed in the email. So it's not that you can only create dynamic content in the body of the email. You can also create the dynamic content in subject and pre-header, subject line and pre-header as well. So this will help you to even more personalize the email even before the people open up the email. So subject and pre-header are the few things that are basically displayed on before opening the email in the mailbox. So if you still want to customize that and say, hey, hi Prashant, instead of generalizing the email subject line saying, hi, thank you for reaching out, something like that. So if you have a specific attribute and you feel that, the attributes are basically being filled mandatorily, then it's always suggested to have a specific, prefixed or dynamic subject line and pre-header as well over there. Okay, so next is code snippet. So, you might ask me like, what is the difference between a specific content builder and a code snippet? So content builder is specifically for. Hello, Funny, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Thanks for confirming, guys. So, okay. So what is the difference between code snippet and, content blocks? So code snippets basically behave like content blocks, but are different because they do not have an extra HTML table that wraps the entire document. So that is the main difference between a code snippet and a content block. And, basically content blocks can be utilized in messages as well. So in the code snippet, so basically this is also utilized to create reusable bits of HTML, AMP script, and guided template language as well. So when you're trying to insert HTML via code snippets, so, you can always insert the code snippets and then edit out the HTML via the code snippets as well. So we have something called as Google Promotions tab inside Marketing Cloud, which can help you to enhance your promotions, like images, deals, or whatever the uh, content that you would like to promote, right? So you can utilize Google Promotions tab, which is readily available inside Marketing Cloud in the code snippet. So also, apart from the code snippet, we also have something called as barcode technology. Salesforce Marketing Cloud does have a barcode technology. You can always generate barcodes using the barcode technology, which is present inside Marketing Cloud. Instead of using a barcode generator, you can also utilize AMP script barcode URL which is present predefined inside the AMP script, classes. So you can utilize this barcode URL AMP script method and then, automatically generate barcodes from the recipient profile information as well. Okay, so the next is share content. So, Marketing Cloud does allow you to share content between your business units, or probably if you would like to only share content within your teams or across the enterprise. So, Marketing Cloud does allow you to share content at folder level or at content level or even at templates and email level as well with other business units across. So you can create a shared folders between the business units and share content, or you can restrict the permissions of the folder, like, only view or view and edit to control how the recipient business unit users can interact with the content that you have created in your parent business unit. Or else you can also restrict the content sharing as well, that, you can log the content up and say, only in the hierarchy, based on the hierarchy this needs to be shared, for example. Or also probably if you would like to share the content to a complete audience of the entire enterprise level, you have the flexibility to do so even at that level as well. Okay, so share across enterprise is a feature that is available inside Marketing Cloud. So that's what I was trying to cover earlier as well. So if you have one or more business units in your account and you would like to share that specific content across all the business units, this is the feature that where you can utilize. And, any basically content placed in the root shared content folder is automatically shared to all existing business units in your account. So root shared folder is the main primary folder. And if you create any content and store inside that specific root shared content folder, then it is basically, shared across all the business units in your account. So you can also share to selected business units, which you have the flexibility to do that as well. That I would like to only share with only these business units. So, for example, I create a content in EMEA business unit. I have multiple business units: APAC, EMER, ASEAN, EMEA. And if I create a content for EMER and I would like to share it even for ASEAN and APAC as well, I can simply share in to those two business units, excluding EMEA business unit, the content that I'm creating for EMER. But if I would like to share it across, then I can also share it at an enterprise level, and I can put that content directly in the root content folder so that it gets shared across the business units. Okay, so we have share content permissions and roles. The content permissions are basically view and send, which is you can have the flexibility to view the content as well. You have the flexibility to edit globally. That means editing the content at a root share folder level as well. So if I give a permission that you have the flexibility to edit at global level, that you can edit at global level as well. But if you would like to do it at your local level by creating a copy in your business unit, so Salesforce content permissions does allow you to do that as well. So that is at content level, but you have the flexibility to do it at folder permissions as well. So folder permissions as well. You have permissions called view, create, move. So moving folder across, creating folders across, like viewing only the folder that is being created, right? Create subfolders inside the shared folder, renaming the folder, like editing the sharing properties of the specific folder, so that the sharing properties can be alterated. Or if at all, we can also give the permissions to delete the shared folders as well. Okay, so we have few limitations as well with the sharing. So we can only share content with 2000 business units, but if you would like to share the content for more than 2000 business units, then we will have to make sure that we do it at enterprise level, and it be enabled. Or you all you have to do is duplicate that specific content and again reshare it for other 2000 or other 3000 business units. Okay, so you can either divide, duplicate it and share, or else you can move it to the enterprise level and share it for the entire people. So just in case you would like to share at a deeper level, then you have flexibility to create subfolders inside a specific folder and share the content only related to that specific subfolder rather than sharing it to the main parent folder as well. So shared content view summarizes all the content that is being shared across all the business units or across all the folders as well. So this shared content view will give you all the content that is being shared, and then it gives you in a one singular place where you can find all the content that is being shared across all the business units and folders. And likewise, I've told earlier, you have the flexibility to lock the shared content so that nobody else will be able to edit the content that is being shared. Okay, so you can do that by locking it so that people who are utilizing it will not be able to edit, just in case you feel that this content should not be edited. Okay, so other than that, we have other things as well in sharing content. So one is importing the shared content. You can always import the shared content as well. All you have to do is build a CSV and import the content directly from the CSV format into the content builder and share it across as well. We have sharing approvals. So sharing and approvals. So if we have approvals enabled in your business unit, you cannot share an email to another business unit unless it is approved. Okay, so this is very much important. So just in case you're trying to share an email content and approvals are already enabled in your instance, you need to get your email message approved from whoever the point or approver, and then only you will be able to share that specific email content across. Okay, so you can always revoke the approval status of a shared email as well. So for that to happen, you will have to first unshare the email from all the business units. So after you unshare the email itself, then only you will be able to revoke the approval status as well. So, if approvals is not enabled in the business unit sharing the email, but it is enabled in the recipient's business unit, then, recipient cannot send the email. Okay. Because as they cannot create an approval workflow for that specific email in the shared business unit, and hence he will not be able to send out the email as well. So the next one is content builder approvals. Okay. So I've covered few of the things prior in sharing and content approvals as well. But similarly, not only, content builder approvals plays a prominent role. This is very much important. So I have gave a simple example earlier as well in my previous session, why approvals are very much required these days while companies are posting on the social media. So when you're trying to send out some emails to the customers, you need to make sure that the emails are not biased over on the basis of a gender or a race. So and so that the company is not demoralized across the internet, because whatever is on the internet stays in the internet for very long time and it cannot be taken down. So instead of getting a negative feedback on the company or build a negative reputation for the company, it's always important that any kind of content that we are building, like emails that we are building, it is important that the emails are reviewed prior being sent out as well. So similarly, it's not only for that specific reason. So if you have a team of marketers and before any email is being sent out, you want the marketers to get approval from their marketing manager or supervisor. That's when we have the flexibility to set up the approval process in place and then get the approvals required for that. But you can always, this will create a consistency across the email communications that are being delivered to the customers or subscribers as well. So even having approvals in place, it's not that you can only approve, you can also reject or add your comments on the approvals that are being submitted for you, and then you can correct the final version, and then make sure that you send it out for the send out the correct version of the email to your subscribers as well. So this will help make sure that all the compliance are followed, because we do have GDPR GDPR compliances across Europe. We have CAN spam compliances that needs to be followed in MR, and then we have data privacy laws in Philippines as well, right? So we have a wide variety of the such things, and in these during these laws, we have few things like there might be some confidential information of that specific attributes of that specific subscriber which are not to be displayed. Then probably not everybody are aware of these things, like people living in MR and building up content for EMEA might not be aware of the GDPR policy. So, if a manager is based out of India, then he has the flexibility to suggest the MR people by rejecting or by adding these comments, and then getting it fixed up before sending it the final version to the customer. So I just wanted to showcase some screenshots, like, where you can see and all. So, when you're an email template and you're trying to complete the email template, you get an option called start approval process. And this is where you try to click start on the button, and based on the approval matrix setup inside the content builder, who should be the reviewer, who should be the approver, and all the kind of steps that are already configured inside marketing cloud content builder approvals. Based on that, this is the next screen for approval. So, person who has received for approval, right? So he can choose the audience, he can give some instructions on what time he is and expected completion date for that particular approval, right? So you can fill out all this information and trigger out and send out the approval request for your supervisor or manager. So we are almost, I think this is the last slide. So we have Einstein content tagging. So content builder provides you to, tag the content that is being created as well. Okay. So, what Einstein does is it automatically starts applying the searchable tags to the or files in your marketing cloud account. And, basically you can tag up to, you can ask Einstein to give up to 25 tags per image as well, but you can control that. It's not that, you can just say, hey, just give for all the images 25 tags. But if you feel like, for few, uh, we don't need 25 tags, then in that case, you can remove and restrict it by, applying the tag limits as well. Okay. So Einstein can tag the existing JPEG TNT files that are 10 MB or less. But if they are greater than that, then Einstein cannot tag those images. Okay. So any new images that are being inserted or are being uploaded into the system, so Einstein tags them for every 24 hours. They analyze Einstein images for every 24 hours and applies new tags for the images as well. Okay. So images are tagged automatically based on the account limits. So you do not need to set any account limits for this specific thing. And for tagging of these images, so Einstein is utilizing Google Vision to analyze and process the images files. So we are basically utilizing a third-party tool called Google Vision, and then we are trying to, we are asking Einstein to analyze and tag the content that is available. Okay, so you can tag the images in different languages. It's not that you can only restrict the tagging in English, but by default, the language that it uses to tag is English. Okay, but we do have multiple languages in the Einstein content tag section, where you can choose, like, the probability of that particular image, how many tags for that specific language, right? So you can do all that kind of stuff. So Sitecore content is available for Marketing Cloud. So it has like real-time sync of images created inside Sitecore, and the Sitecore can push back the data real-time to Content Builder as well. So it is a real-time sync of images. So we have the ability to connect Sitecore with Marketing Cloud as well. So all the images that are created in Sitecore are maintained in Sitecore, and the connector syncs the images to a top-level Sitecore folder in the content builder. So that is where you will be able to access the Sitecore images that you're trying to create inside the Marketing Cloud in the top level Sitecore folder itself. Okay, so Sitecore images that are stored in content builder are only read-only images and can be used across all the marketing channels, where be it Ad Studio, be it Email Studio, be it Interaction Studio. You have the flexibility to use these images all the channels, but only thing is, you cannot edit those images inside the Marketing Cloud. They are only in the read-only format. You will have to go back to the Sitecore to edit those images or make modifications to those images. Okay. So let me stop sharing my screen. So can we generate barcodes automatically in multiple times? I didn't get your question, Jafar. Can you explain it a bit more? Okay. So yes. So for example, Lakshmi, so for example, like, I have a approval that is done in my parent folder, parent BU, and the child BU does not have an approval, and but that email is shared across the child BU as well. But if the child BU does not have an approval process, and the email is not approved in the child builder, a child BU as well, then the people in the child BU will not be able to utilize the parent BU email, which was approved in the parent BU, to trigger out email, because this is approved in the parent BU or the other BU, different BU, and not the child BU or the second BU. For example, Emmer has got an email template that is being shared across APAC and EMEA as well. And Emmer has got an approval process, and this specific email template has been approved in the Emmer. But if the email template is being shared across EMEA as well, and EMEA does not have an approval process, but this specific email requires an approval because it has an approval template, or it has got approved in the Ember, then EMEA will not be able to utilize it to send images. Yes, for now, approvals is only for emails. And it's not that you can only manually send an approval, but you can also request for an approval directly in Journey Builder as well using that. Let me share my screen again. so that I can show some quick demos as well. Okay, so I hope everybody are able to see my screen. So when you log into Marketing Cloud, you do not see or you do not log in or land onto the content builder directly. Okay. So when you click on hover, you will be able to see all the kind of studios for those who missed my previous session. So you should be able to find the content builder over here, and you can see the approvals in content builder section. But before going deep into that, we need to first to look at settings as well. So I can just click on setup. Okay, so you should be able to find all your settings over here. Okay, so whether it is for content builder settings, so in the setup section is where you will be able to find content builder settings. So if you want auto save of the emails, if you want to share across the enterprise, right? So you, this is currently disabled in my instance, but you can do that. So again, like, we had discussed predictable file URLs as well. So, you can find that. So that's one thing. And you can see a lot of other advanced content, whether dynamic content is enabled or not for my BU, right? So buttons are enabled or not. You can restrict all these kind of settings over here. Okay. If I do not want people to create a free form content, right? I can restrict this, and then, people will not be able to create a free form content. Similarly, I have the flexibility to restrict as well. Okay, as and when I do not want, I can come back and I can disable the features that are available for the content builder over here. So we can also, create approval process. I will cover anyway that section later. Okay, I'll just come back later. Over. So I'm just going back to the content builder. Okay. So towards the left, you can see, like, what are all the folders that are available. And I have local folder because this is specific to this particular BU. That is the reason we have local folders over here. We have something called a shared folder, which is where shared content I am being shared. I'm sharing the content across. And I have two BUs. That is the reason I am able to share the content across. But if you do not have a two BUs or multiple BUs, then you will not be able to share the content across using the shared folders. Okay, so that is one thing that you will have to take a note before you try to implement the shared folders section. Okay, so I have two BUs and I have created a hierarchy. So I told that my BU is the parent BU of training, and the child BU training 2 is the a new BU that I have recently created. Okay, so you can see, right? So I have a content builder over here as a folder, but I do not have any subfolders because it is a fresh BU. But I can see that my shared content is being coming from my previous BU training 1, because I have shared a content directly from the that specific BU. You can see that there is a small icon being displayed over here that specifically says that this is being shared from the training BU. Okay, so that's something you can take a look at here. Okay, so I can create multiple folders over here. Okay, so when I create a folder, right, I can just say Prashant demo. Okay, and I create a folder. It creates a child folder, but parent folder is always a content builder folder. Okay, so I have that flexibility to create the content directly from here. So when I create a content, right? So for example, I'm trying to create content blocks. Okay, so I would like to create a button. I'm creating a button. Okay, so I just don't want to change anything. So I'm saving it. Just okay, so I'm not sharing it. That is the reason it's saying not shared, but I am placing this in my newly created folder, but I can change it to whatever the folder I would like to change. Okay, so I would like to create in shared content. I cannot do that without across enterprise sharing is being enabled. Okay, so instead I will just do Prashant demo. I will save it. Okay, and then I'll just click on share. Okay, so when I click on share, I can just select to which BU I would like to share. Okay, so I'm selecting training BU, and then I am selecting view and send. We have something called as edit globally as well. I'm just saying view and send, share. Okay, and then save. Okay, the button that I just created, right, is now available in the folder as well. Okay, and this button is being shared to training. Okay, so for example, if I just go back to my training, I will be able to find the button that I just created. Okay, so let me just go there. Okay, so that's how you can create a content and share across. Okay, so it's not that you can only create content of a button. Also, we have code snippet. We can create code snippets as well. So for example, I'm just trying to say we are demo, and then I can write an h1 tag as well, and then put it over here. Okay, or if I want to upload the content as well, right, I can just do that as well. Okay, so I'm just trying to create a code snippet, just saving it, save and exit. So this is basically how you can create a code snippet. I have stored it in the local folder, so I will be able to find it in the local folder itself. I have not shared it, but for example, I am over here and I would like to share it. So I have the flexibility to share it as well. I have the flexibility to move it or copy where this particular file is by copying the copy location. Now I would just like to move it from the content builder to it. I can do that. Okay. So now my data is available for you. Okay. Now I would like to just give a share to my training to BU as well. So I can just do a share, and I'll just this time say edit globally. Okay. So now when I go back to training two, I have given the ability to edit it globally. Okay. So that means the changes that I make in training two BU should be reflected in the training one BU, right? So I come back over here, go to the shared content. Okay, because I gave it edit globally, I am able to edit it. Okay, now I just say h2 edited in so I'm switching the BU to BU1. If I just go over here, it you can see I'm able to edit it. Okay, what if I'm again like restricting the stuff? Say only edit, cannot edit globally. Yeah. Okay, now that the permissions have been changed, switching the BU to training 2. Trying to find my content, not edit it. Okay, so that's how the permissions of sharing the content works. Okay, so you can see now, right? So this is not editable anymore. But if I want to edit this, I will have to create a duplicate in my local folder. Okay, so this is being stored in my local folder. Okay, so I can just move it to here. Okay, and then save it. Now, since this is duplicated, I now will have the flexibility to edit it. Okay. So that's how that's what happens when have different kinds of permissions, whether you would like to be able to edit that specific content globally, or else you would not like to edit that specific content globally. These are the two ways how you can control the permissions of the shared content. Okay. So I'm just going back to my view one. Okay. So yeah, let's see. So I'm just trying to build a dynamic content. So again, like, I'm sorry. Again, go back to the create content blocks, and then you get dynamic content. Okay. So this is how you create a dynamic content. Okay. So whether you would like to keep the blocks up to date or you would like to make local copies of the content blocks, that's up to you. Okay. So you can do that. So I'm trying to select a default content because this is very much important if the attribute does not match. So I'm selecting MC Square logo as default content. And then probably I will try to say profile attribute and say country, India. Okay. So I need to select my content. If it is India, what needs to be displayed, right? So I'm just saying this is the image or the content that needs to be displayed. Okay. So my one criteria has been set up. Like now I need to have a different criteria again, right? So this time I would like say if country is Singapore and right. So and first name probably begins with PH. Okay. Then different kind of okay. Now that I have two rules, right? So I can just go ahead. So if I just want to make some settings of device preview and all, I can do that. I can set my preview width and as well for the for this specific content. I am moving it to my phone. Okay. So that's how you basically create your dynamic content and try to utilize it. Where can you utilize that? So for example, I'm just trying to go to an email message and try to email message. I'm just choosing a template. So I have something called as dynamic content over here. Okay. So I can choose the dynamic content or create the dynamic content over here as well. Okay. So if I just don't want this, then probably let me just delete it. Okay. So anyways, like, I can just build my content again over here and did as well. I should be able to choose that existing one. Yes. So, I've created, I've added the content, right? So we have other forms of content as like content blocks that are available over here. Okay. So I can just add my external content as well and then say if this URL send immediately, right? So I can do that as well. Okay. So if I just want to have this kind of stuff, I can do that. Okay. So you just okay. So we have different content blocks like image block, HTML block as well. So for A/B testing, we have A/B testing as well. So if I just say, give Einstein content selection or give a try, I can just have to drag and drop this Einstein content selection and then get my things moving. Okay. So I'm just said trying to build my subject line. So even we can utilize dynamic content as well over here, right? So I'm just saying hi. So first name. Okay, how are you? The subject line. Okay, so when I just go on next, right? So you should be seeing on the top called start approval process. Okay, I can just click on start approval process. Okay, so what is the audience? So I'm trying to select bootcamp demo audience. Saying please approve. What is the team? Demo approvals. So remember this screen. I will come back again and show it to you. Okay, so when I go to, before I go to that approvals, right? Okay. So all I can see all my approvals over here. So what are the content that is being approved? What has been not been approved? What is the status? Do I have anything for myself to approve? So do I have any tasks? Right. So all this can be directly looked after directly from content builder and approval section. So all you have to go to the approval section and you should be able to do that. Okay. So you can always create an approval as well. Okay. And then you should be able to create the content and get your approval done as well. So before doing all that, there are two important steps that you need to do before sending it out. So first one is setting up the approval process. So you need to set up the approval process. For that, you need to go to the setup and select approval settings over here. So once you're over here, so you should be able to create a team. So likewise, I've created a team. I can create a team. So by default, this will be in the off. That means the toggle is moved to the off. So I can create a standard approval process or a two-step approval process. So I can have only two-step approval process as well. And then I can assign the team like demo 2 is the team, and be the submitter and who should be the approver. So I might say, Prashant is the submitter again. Okay. This time I'll make Funny as the approver. Okay. So that's how we you first create an approval step. So once you create an approval process, right? So you turn this on from the off. So it will by default in the off, but you just will be uh, clicking on this and turning it on so that the email contents will be will be asked to get the approval. So all your previous email templates that are being utilized or that have been already been created will be auto approved for that. Okay. So now once done, I just go to my users. Okay, because my roles or permissions needs to be updated, because now that I have created approvals, now I need to make sure that the respective users who are in the approval process also get the approvals permissions. Okay, so I select a specific user. Okay, and then click on manage roles, assuming that this is the person who's going to approve. Then I click on edit permissions. So I come down, I need to find where the approvals and workflows are. You can see this, right? So I just need to check this checkbox and then save it. Okay. So once you save it, the is just that, yeah. So the required permissions are updated to that specific user. Now you can utilize that since the approval process is also created. Now that specific person will be able to receive approvals of using this specific approval process. Okay. Now, assuming I'm back again over here. Okay. So I should be able to start it. Yep. Start. So what is the data extension? So I might say SD dummy So what is the team? Tells the demo approvals, expected completion. So I'm saying 28th Feb. I'm just So I have submitted them for review and approval. So the first step basically over here would be going to the approver and then getting it reviewed as well. So that is how, we trigger out approvals. So once it is sent, there will be an email alert as well sent out. So, the recipient will receive an email of approval, and then they will look at this particular content and approve the content as well. Anyway, mine. You can see, right? So this is just in the submitted stage, and this has not been either approved yet. Okay, so I can withdraw it, I can edit it, I can delete it. So I can do a lot of stuff even after sending out for the approval. So if I do not want, even before they respond, I just don't want them to look at that. And all I can do is withdraw this particular approval request, and it will be made, it will not be available in the recipients list for them to approve again. So the last thing that I would like to cover today would be about Einstein content tagging. So wait, so I can just click on Einstein, and then I will be able to check multiple things over here. So one is Einstein settings. Okay, so this will set up the Einstein in your Marketing Cloud instance completely. Okay, so this will give you more insights as well, like what is the personalized data and all. Currently, this is being showed as opted out because I have opted out from this specific feature inside Marketing Cloud. So we have Einstein content tagging where you have the flexibility to tag the content. All you have to do is set your parameters. Okay, I'm saying minimum confidence level should be 7.75, and what is the maximum tags per image? So I'm treating them as 25. And if it for that specific content tag you would like to have a prefix, right? So you can do a prefix. So but Marketing Cloud does give you a pre-built prefix which says MCECT, which is Marketing Cloud Einstein content tagging. But if you want to make change, you can obviously make that content tag change, which is a prefix for that. Okay, so I'm just not saving anything. Post that, you can always like tag the images in the entire content builder or only Einstein content tagging folder. So you can move the images to this specific folder and get those images tagged with Einstein as well. Okay. Likewise, I told, right? So every new image, if there are new images being uploaded, so every 24 hours, Einstein starts tagging the new images that have been uploaded in the last 24 hours. Okay, so you can tag the content language as well. Like you can select the content tagging language as well. So by default, it will be English, but you have a vast number of languages that you can select with so that the Einstein will be able to tag that specific content in those languages that you have defined. Okay. So once you do all this, all you have to do is turn this on, and then Einstein will start running. Not doing that, given this is a different instance. So similarly, we have Einstein content selection as well. I cannot showcase this as well. All we have to do is activate, because there are a few settings that are once you activate those settings, you cannot deactivate few things. That is a specific reason I'm not doing this in this specific instance. Okay, so but you can do that as well. Okay, so yeah, so let me take few questions before we go to the quiz. That is done. So yes, approvals is only for emails. If an email is built and approved using free form and then free form is disabled, we need to recreate the email and go through the approval again. Correct. You need to go through the approval process again if you're building a new email. Okay. So what are we doing with that step to send an email to the approval? No, see, that is automatically being sent out. So, oh, sorry, I read it wrong. Where are we doing that step? Send an email to the recipient or an approver. Okay. So basically, so while I'm setting it up right in the approval process, so we do not set up any kind of an email. All we do is, we set up who is the submitter, who will be the final approver, and who will be the reviewer. So over here, right, for this particular three-step approval process or standard approval process, so I have Prashant as the submitter, Funny as the final approver, and my CEO as the reviewer over here. Okay, so I do not create any kind of email alerts for them to send out. All I do is just click on start approval process and add my comments. Okay. So when I'm over here in the approval builder, right? So I have, when I clicked on start approval, let me create one more. Right? So if you're seeing this button, right, when I just click on start approval, I'm giving them instructions. Okay. I'm just choosing the specific audience as well to preview the email. The reason this is, so when the approver is trying to approve and he wants to test this email from an audience perspective, this is what the data extension that I'm trying to send this email for. That is why I chose that specific data extension so that the approver will be able to see the specific preview of the email. Okay. So I am selecting who is the team. Okay. I'm giving the instructions over here. I'm selecting the team and I'm giving an expected date of complete as well and just clicking on save and submit. Now this will build an automatic email for the approval with the instructions as well. And then, it is automatically sent out for the approver who's going to approve it. Now this is available across all the editions for the approval process. I believe so that is available for all the editions. I can cross check and let you know, Lakshmi. Absolutely. We can always unshare the content again. Yes. Marketing Cloud itself sends the email. I'm not sure whose email is there on that specific user that I've tried to build out. But yeah, it's Marketing Clouds. Loading, guys. Yeah, you can always unshare the content that is already shared. So when we are trying to select the subscriber or recipient in approval during the approval, it is for the approver who's going to approve that specific email to see that this specific email is for these customers. Okay. And he can do a preview for those from those customers as well, from the customer perspective as well. Okay. So that is the reason that, we are selecting subscriber or recipient. Otherwise, I can just create a simple email template and then say, hey, I am building an email template, approve it. But instead, if you are selecting a subscriber list or a data extension, right? So it will be, easy for the approver also to know that the email has been specifically built for this data extension or this subscriber list. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. There are no more questions. Then probably we can move to the page, right, Funny? Do you want to add anything, Funny? So so this is on Kahoot. Kahoot. So, yeah. Anyways, the game quiz, it's a quiz. We are having around 10 questions today. So make sure that, you answer all the 10 questions, otherwise you'll not be able to. For those who don't know, you will have to have two devices. Better to have two devices. So log in from your mobile using kahoot.id if you are viewing the session on your laptop or your personal computer, because questions will be displayed on the screen and you should only pick the answer from your mobile device.